support to the School of America.
That's right.
That trained terrorists.
Yeah. Well, our taxes pay for that,
yeah.
obviously, and our taxes pay for the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. They are illegal, criminal wars that.
So is this hot air, wash, intimidation? But this is serious business.
It's very serious business.
You must
There were
subpoena.
70.
You have two options to cooperate.
That's right.
And or you're not. And then if in one case.
Well, and to cooperate either talking to the federal attorney or the FBI or the grand jury, and the grand jury is a very undemocratic. It is. I've got this T-shirt that says
how
a witch
do they
hunt.
select them?
They are just. The prosecutor essentially selects them, and they come from a pool.
Just like an average citizen?
Well, they probably aren't an average citizen because they meet up to 18 months, sometimes 23 months, once a week, once a month. And so it's a hardship for
people. When you say they meet?
The grand jury meets at least once a week.
To do what?
Well, the way it works is that the grand jury is run by the prosecutor who picks the jurors, and there's no judge in there. There's a judge outside who can make some rulings, but no judge inside.
So this is different than the other
a regular
court.
Yeah. And we cannot have our attorneys in the room. They can be outside, and we can go out and ask them questions, but they can't be in the room. There's no limits on what the prosecutor can ask, and so they can ask about anybody we know at home or abroad. And the minute let me go back a little bit. If we would only do that, a person would only do that if they were offered immunity, and that means that whatever you say cannot be used against you, although they can do investigation on what you've said and
somebody
then find
else was saying something.
somebody else. Yes, people talk about it as a circular.
So I think it's a trap.
It's exactly. I mean, it's not even used in half the states anymore. It's not used in England or Canada. So many governmental bodies have determined that this is a very unfair, undemocratic
There is
system.
no legal oversight?
No,
to
in
the
fact,
process?
they say no, there isn't. And in fact, it is said that any half-baked prosecutor can get an indictment on a ham sandwich. And I think it's 99% or over 99% of requests for indictment by the prosecutor of the grand jury result in an indictment. Now, once there's an indictment, there's a trial, and that is obviously a fairer system because there are.
You can look at the other evidence again.
You look at the history since 9/11. I say it's fair, but
nothing is fair anymore after 9/11.
Yeah, no, nothing is fair after 9/11.
I mean, all you need to do a Patriot Act or whatever.
Many people have been indicted and tried, and oftentimes the charges have been thrown out, and they've been re-indicted and retried, and the examples in the Muslim community abound. Samuel Arian and the members of the Holy Land Foundation people. Well, the list goes on, and not to mention the 1,000 people in New York that were arrested right away, that were thrown in jail, and the attacks on the Muslim American community, which began in 2011, have been kind of unremitting, right? They've
and that business of entrapment. You go at a young kid, doesn't have a job, depressed, and you put idea in his mind, and you plot the whole theory. It's like a American Idol or a reality television, and then you arrest him.
That's right. Because
he's gonna do a plot to topple the Caesar Tower. Where did you get that idea? Yeah. Well, the FBI agent put it in mind. I mean, this is very serious.
The latest, the Somali.
Yeah, and this Somali guy
he must have been 15 when this started.
This guy wouldn't even know how to,
No,
how to
and kids at 15. What are kids at 15? I mean, they're kids. They're not thinking straight. That's the nature of an adolescent, is not thinking straight.
And they confuse
might be,
nationalism with patriotism.
Yeah.
Well, if some Somali wants to go home and defend his country, that's nationalism. Yes. but we see it as a traitor and a terrorism.
Yeah.
And if some American wants to go to Israel and defend the Holy
That's
Land,
nationalism and
that's
patriotism.
national
If you go to
patriotism.
Somalia,
it's
then you're a
terrorism.
terrorist, exactly.
So the idea that's why people hate us, why the Muslim American not getting on with it, because of what is really been singled out, and this assault on and not just our behavior but our ideas.
You know, Eric Holder this last weekend, or within the last week, was asked at I think he was in California speaking, and supported what's happened, the FBI entrapment policies, and said they aren't going to change, and it keeps us safe. And so he obviously, they're going full steam ahead with this whole entrapment policy. Apparently, when he came into the room, he was applauded, and people, I'm not sure which group he was speaking before, but when he said this, there was stunned silence. That this was going to, this isn't just a mistake. This isn't just a rogue FBI or some office. This is official U.S. Justice Department policy to continue to entrap.
It made sense under the Bush administration. We have a black person that once represent the people who went through horrible injustice.
Yeah.
Is he sensitive to this at all? Do you see any changes?
Well, certainly according to a statement and according to what's happened to us, no changes. In all fairness, the investigation on us started under the Bush administration, but it could be stopped. And the support that we have gotten from the movement and from the community and from our friends and from family has been enormous. I mean, there were 500 people at the rally in front of the FBI building the Monday after.
Well, they come to your house.
Yeah.
You should go to their house.
That's right.
I like
Very
that.
Good. I like that. Yeah, good. That was good.
I like that.
Yeah. There were demonstrations in 60 cities across the U.S. There are over 200
who's organizing the support? Who is organizing all this?
People could go to stopfbi.net.
Stop it.
Who
wants to go there?
That's our website, and you can see what we're asking people to do. And those demonstrations that happen relatively spontaneously across the country at first, and now we've got people working who are, coordinating.
Who are those people who go under? Because the Vikings game was canceled because the dome caved in, and it was like a national crisis. Yeah. And they moved it to Detroit. It's 100 degrees below zero. And thousands of people lining up for hours to get a ticket. And here is a rally for a wonderful Make America, really what America is. And still, but anyway, I think what you're doing for all this is tremendous. I'm just saying, now they read it. Now you've been subpoenaed, right?
I and two others have had our
subpoena. So tell us what's your plan. What are you going to do?
Well, it's all in flux at this point. We don't have a date yet before the grand jury, and the federal attorney will be speaking to our lawyers in the next few weeks, and we'll go from there. We'll see,
You getting any advices, legal advices?
Oh, we all have
a lawyer.
The three of us now have our own lawyers. The National Lawyers Guild stepped up right away, and there's in Chicago there is a group, the People's Law Firm or Law Office,
There's Ted Dooley.
Ted Dooley, sure.
Yeah. He's a Kelly's attorney.
Uh-huh.
Well, he called the raid a probe into the political beliefs of American citizens and any organization. So it's not a war on terrorism. It's war on thoughts.
That's right.
War on
war
ideas.
On dissent and a war on international solidarity activism. Exactly. Exactly.
So, I mean, you would think, after, our experience with dissent and after all years, those people we were put them in jail, we accused them of being unpatriotic. They were right. They actually were right about our policy in Vietnam.
Oh, exactly.
They were right.
Well, I think that's
we'll always
the point.
End up
that's the point.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And the people who are pro-war, they end up being wrong. But they are the patriotic ones.
That's right. That's right. And think about it. Right now, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are not going well. The economy is not going well. I mean, in many ways, the government is on the defensive as much as they're on the offensive now. They are on the defensive.
So they try to change narrative, headlines. I think WikiLeaks is one of on that line too. They're just trying to change the headlines.
That's right.
Because everybody's talking about WikiLeaks and what happened years ago, but nobody's talking about what's happening now.
Well, the first of the reports out of WikiLeaks, they really detail what the war in Iraq has been about and what the war in Afghanistan is about, and actually maybe the specifics of well, no, I think they talk about the climate change.
Okay.
I mean, they talk about how we do, how the U.S. government does
500,000
business.
fire is not a leak. That's a flood.
Yes,
me.
That's right.
It's not a leak.
That's true.
I mean, the system doesn't leak that much. It must be the system want to fix itself.
Yeah.
Like you do winterize your car. You know, you flood.
And look what they're trying to do to him. Look at the threats against him.
Well, that's part of the plan to legitimize the leaks.
Yeah,
I think the guy is well protected and he's fine. I know Colleen Rowley may disagree with me, but anyway, you know. I had the district director of the ABI here, Ralph Bolton.
Okay.
And I asked him, why are you after the peace activists or pro-peace? Why couldn't you go after pro-wars? Those Arab people get us in trouble. You know, talk show hosts and, you know, all this Tea Party and all these people encourage us to get in trouble and hurt American interests internationally. You are the opposite. We try to stop violence.
That's right.
And change the policy that is hurting Americans.
That's right.
Over there. And you still are the one who single out. He said, yeah, there can be a peace group, but under the cover of terrorist activities.
Well, you know, the material aid to terrorist organizations, those laws have changed dramatically. They were first enacted in 1996 under Clinton, and it did. And after the bombing of the World Trade Center, then after 9/11, the Patriot Act further expanded them, and now a Supreme Court decision in September expanded them further, so that they really come very close to having to do with speech and association. And they say it has to be in coordination with a terrorist organization, but you know, that's a really fuzzy line. So it's no longer just money and guns. It's association and
ideas.
Speaking out. Yeah, that's right. Speaking out for the PFLP, for instance, stands for right of return of Palestinian refugees, and I think even now a two-state solution. At one point, it was a one-state solution.
It's our country's policy anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, a two-state
solution. Yeah.
I don't know why Hezbollah is a terrorist organization.
That's right.
Why Hamas is? They never hurt us.
Hamas is an elected government. It's a government, and I mean, it was elected in Gaza. They are a government. Hezbollah is a political party in
Once you
Lebanon.
hear an organization with their Arabic name, they are terrorists.
Yeah,
if you can, the party of God.
There are 27 foreign terrorist organizations, and most of them are in the Middle East. As a matter
We are
of
good
fact.
on something here. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sarah Martin. I know we don't have caption. Thank you for coming. And
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you
50
for the
years, he's still gone on it, and
yeah,
hopefully
that's right.
check their website.
There's longevity in my family. So
wonderful. Hope you survive this. I think you're much stronger than those guys. That's why they are terrified. So let's conclude our show. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum, and God bless you all.